Welcome to Down the Line with Charlie and Bo. I'm Sam Wilson. Chris Wheeler joined the Phillies back in 1971 and has become great friends with Charlie and Larry. Today we're going to get some stories from all of them on this week's edition of Down the Line. Down the Line is brought to you in part by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Visit Montgomery County's Main Streets. Find out more at makeitmainstreets.com. By Shibe Vintage Sports, where there's a story in every stitch. Check out their throwback sports gear at their Center City location or at shibesports.com. And by Phillies Nation, where informed fans go for news, rumors, events, and other fun stuff.
They're not just familiar faces, they're your friends and neighbors. It's their small businesses, a beating heart that makes a neighborhood a home, where personality is served on a plate and imagination paints a brighter world. A place where fresh is always in stock with a personal touch passed down through generations. Support small and make a big difference. Make it local. Make it Main Street. Make it Montco.
My name is Kenny Thomas and I'm the chief artist at Shibe Sports. I'm a big Philadelphia sports fan, a 4-for-4 guy.
I learned how to screen print in high school. Started making my own t-shirts at home, slowly grew and grew until I needed to get a studio. My name's Alex and I print t-shirts for Shibe Sports.
To actually be able to impact a culture with the things you make is one of the most important things an artist can ever do.
How about this guy right here? We got to introduce him to our audience here. He goes way back with you, with me. He's been with the Phillies a long time, and we're talking about Chris Wheeler, who's done it all. Pre-game, broadcasting. He thinks he can play. He thought he could play. In fact, to this day, Charlie, I'll say something to him, and he says, you know what, Bo, at least I played high school baseball, which I got cut every year. So he tells me he was all Marple, Newtown, and everything. But Wheels, I just want to welcome you to our show, and maybe you can share some of your stories. Well, let's start with you. How did you get started in this? I know you went to Penn State. You're a big-time Nittany Lion and everything like that. So maybe give our audience a little bit of a background of how this all started.
I'll do that, but I want to go to what you just brought up. I always tell everybody, Chuck, do not get in a one-liner contest with him or Pete Rose. You will have no shot. So one day I thought I was going to be pretty cool, and I said to him, well, at least I made my high school baseball team. Well, yeah, where did it get you? Running pink slips up and down the elevators. And look what happened to me. And, you know, from that day on, we never did that. I was a Phillies fan my whole life. I mean, I used to go to Connie Mack. I always said they lost money when they hired me because I used to go to so many games.
Right.
I just loved the game so much. I played it all the time. Then I was a broadcast journalism major in college at Penn State, and I just got lucky in 1971, the year I met you.
Right.
We've known each other 50 years.
Long
That's
time.
unbelievable.
Long time.
Larry Schenk hired me as his assistant. The next thing you know, I was down in the clubhouse around you guys, and I remember walking around like this saying, don't even look anybody in the eye, don't make any mistakes. Whatever you do, don't screw this up, because it's the opportunity of a lifetime, and you know, I lasted a long time, Bo.
Well, I will say this, Charlie. When he first started out, before he knew everything, you know, he would come down and he'd always listen and he'd ask questions about the strategy of the game and what was your thought process and all that. And if we were in a good mood, we would sit down and talk. But if we were in a bad mood, we'd say, get out of here, man. We don't want to talk to you. But he was very knowledgeable, and what he didn't know, he would always ask. And I know you got along good with him.
I got along real good with him.
Obviously, winning a world championship, that even put icing on the cake.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. Wheels and I, like he said, I used to confide in him sometimes. Whatever you call it, I'd call it moaning or something, or crying in your water or milk or something. And he'd always, he's heard some of the most funniest things I know. about my family, about my family always called me at the wrong time, and I remember. Can I tell that?
Of course, tell
I
it.
told him, I said, no wonder people think I'm so damn dumb. I said, I got the dumbest family I ever seen.
Tell him one time he was talking to his mother. He used to talk to his mom all the time. And I know he'd be on, Mom? Yeah, Mom. No, Mom. He can't play, Mom. I
She's trying to make a lineup out for you?
Put that boy in the lineup. He can't hit this guy tonight.
Yeah.
Mom, you have to listen to me. I'm the manager. And he would argue with his mom, and you could tell his mom was getting after him like a fan.
What about when I told her, I said, Mom, you can pick the right time to call me every day when I'm busy or something. So, really, but she always told me, she said one time, she goes, what about, she said, I want you to be like Bobby Cox. I go, what? I said, you be like Bobby Cox. I said, Mom, Bobby Cox is a great manager. And she goes, well, that's why I want you to be like Bobby Cox or something. And because she loved Bobby Cox.
Right,
She loved to listen to baseball and watch it on TV too, and of course, and listen to it on the radio.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Those are good stories.
Well, the thing was, I just want to follow up
Yeah.
on what you were saying. The reason I got to love the game as much is because I played it so much and failed at it, but got around you guys, and I would pick your brains.
Yeah, you did.
And you and I got very close early on. You and Bull and Vuk and I, and we were all around the same age, so we would go out at nights. We would sit and talk the game. I learned the game. I realized how much I didn't know about it when I finally got around.
Well, you also work with the great Harry Callis and Richie Ashburn. I'm sure you got a ton of stories about that, but how great was it to work with two icons in the city of Philadelphia?
It was a real honor, and I'm going to put Andy Musser in there too.
That's
because
right.
the
I
four of
forgot
us
about
were on
Andy.
for a long time. But Whitey was different, as you well know, one of the funniest human beings. He lived with me for a while, and he paid me no rent. And one day I finally broached the subject. I said, Whitey, you've been here 3-4 months now. We talk about rent? He said, are you kidding me? He says, you told me that I was your boyhood idol. Why would I pay you any rent? Never gave me a cent. True. Never gave me a cent.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then, we've done a show also. Bill Giles was pretty influential with you also.
Well, the day I got hired, Larry Schenker interviewed me over in the old Ovations Club, which was in the bottom of the old Spectrum. And I remember I'd come in there, and I was a little bit, off center in those days. I had long sideburns. I cut them real long. I wanted to make sure that hair was cut real short when I had it back then. And Bill came over, and if Bill Giles hadn't liked the interview, he told me, he said, you were kind of marginal as far as I was concerned. He said, but Schenk wanted you really bad. So I decided I'd leave it up to him.
Oh, wow.
So, but Bill could have ex-nayed it too.
Oh, yeah.
And they offered me $10,000 as a starting salary. I was working at General.
Back then, that was good.
Well, I was working at General Electric at that time in the PR department. I was making 15.
Oh, so you took a cut.
Oh, that went over well. But it was one of those things, Bo, where I said, hey, I get a chance to work for my team that I grew up with, that I love. I don't care what happens the rest of my life. I'm going to give this a shot. And I got 50 years in there.
That's amazing. That's good.
Let me ask you this: do you miss it? I mean, I know you still watch it on TV and everything, but do you actually miss the broadcasting part of it? I know you're still involved in spring training. You do the spring training games. You work that, but do you miss doing the play-by-play or the color?
Stuff happens during a game where when I'm sitting there with Renee, I always say it before they say it, which obviously. Things happen in a game that I think, that I would have said that, hey, everybody has to do the game themselves.
Right.
But I don't miss the road trips as you get older. I don't miss the long nights. I don't miss the rain delays and those kind of things. But to say that I don't miss it, sure I miss it. Hey, when you did something 37 years, I didn't miss a road trip for 37 years, didn't miss one game. So yeah, I miss it, but I'm okay now.
We'll be right back with more from Charlie and Bo. Phillies Nation is your source for breaking news, original analysis, trade insights, and more. With Credentials Access, our team of writers brings you first-hand accounts from your favorite players of today's team, minor league prospects of the future, and Phillies alumni from the past. Join our community and connect with hundreds of thousands of die-hard fans through our social media accounts, tailgate parties, and charity events. Don't miss a thing. Be sure to visit PhilliesNation.com every day.
Yeah, Wills, we got the pitcher going to be pitching tonight. His name's Willer. So you got any ties with him or what? What's the story?
If I talk like you, I might.
All right.
No, Chuck, no ties with him. But I only met him one time. You know how things are nowadays. You don't get to, because of the COVID and all. But in the spring training, his first spring training, he was standing on one of the practice fields with Aaron Nola down in Clearwater. So I said, I got to go up and introduce myself. So I heard he was a real nice guy. So I went up and I said, Zach, hi, my name's Chris Wheeler. Oh, nice to meet you, you know. And I said to him, they call you Wheels? And he said, yeah, that's my nickname. I said, well, let me tell you something. When you're walking around here for the next few weeks, if you hear somebody yelling Wheels, it's not for you. Well, he laughed. He just gave a big, and Nolan went, yeah, and he hit him on the shoulder and everything. So that's the only time I met. People say, have you met him yet or talked to him? No, but I've always thought he was, you know, Bo, when he was with the Mets, he threw a lot of fastballs, you know, and guys could hit him. You know, you would hit him some nights, and other nights you couldn't hit him. Boy, he is an outstanding.
Not now. You don't hit him now.
Actually, today I was going to tell all these people that hopefully they're listening to us that you were his grandfather.
Well, let me put it this way, Chuck. This generation of players right now, I can be their grandfather, and so can you two.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you, you're pretty observant. I mean, really observant. When you watch games today, as opposed to back in the day, even when Charlie managed, when I played or managed, do you see a big difference in this? Obviously, the style different, but I mean, do you start going, man, that never happened, or?
Well, sure. I'm going to get into what you guys did. You know what I miss a lot about the game right now? You guys getting thrown out.
Yeah.
Because now with the replays, you guys don't go. There was nothing more exciting. You were good, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing more exciting to watch you go.
Oh, you probably have that story with Levy.
Oh, that was the best. With Levy? Oh, so
This is a good one.
We're doing this game on a cold afternoon at the vet. Not many people there, and we're not real good at the time.
No, we weren't very good.
So he's mad anyway about all, because I know I'd done the pregame show and I knew he was having one of those mornings. So Alfonso Marquez, who just had an incident, you know, with the Phillies recently with balls and strikes, was a home plate umpire, and his head's in the dugout, in our dugout. He's, you know, and doing this. So anyway, it's about the fourth inning, and he's still missing pitches all over the plate. Well, you know, when the manager comes out on the first trip, back in those days, a lot of times you figured he's coming out to get him. So out he comes, and we got the center field camera, and he's doing like this. And he's just standing there. And, you know, so we're saying on the air, he's baiting him. He's trying to get him to come out. So all of a sudden, here comes Alfonso Marquez, and you can see Bo's lips. And he goes, is he coming? Is he coming? And the next thing you know, he turns around, Bo turns around, Alfonso Marquez is there, and within 10 seconds, wham, he throws, and then he screamed. But the best part about it was he told me later that Mike Lieberthal said, is who coming?
Yeah. And to put the icing on the cake, Chuck, I'm telling Marquez, I'm going, those are strikes. He needs those pitches. And Levy's standing right there. And I said, if he doesn't get those pitches, we're going to be out here all day. And after he kicked, and I'm walking off, and Levy goes, hey, Bo, those aren't strikes. And I went, oh.
It was great. I mean, you just knew what was going to happen as soon as he came out. The game's not the same game that we grew up with. One of the greatest thing I like about what I was able to do was strategy. There's not as much strategy in the game, even though we don't have the DH of the National League, because they've taken it out of it. Guys don't steal bases, they don't hit and run, they don't do a lot of things for strategy because they're so concerned with giving up an out. Yeah. Now, I know you like the home run ball, but people misunderstood you.
Right.
You did manage and bunted and hit and run.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you, of course, did, because that was part of your game.
Right.
So I would miss that, I think, doing the games right now, because a lot of that's gone.
You know, you told that story. I want Charlie to tell the story. This was a good story. When Myers was on the mound and you were going to take him out, and he started giving you some, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
This is a great story, I think.
I go out one day to get Myers. It's hot, and and he actually for about 4 or 5 innings or something, he pitched pretty good. He had the bases loaded. He was in a jam, and I went out to get him, and and I walk up on a mountain. I said, "That's good, Myersley." I said, "You
going to make a change?"
Yeah, I said, "I got a change coming here." And he looked at me and he says, And he looks at me and he goes like this. He says, you don't trust me. You don't have no faith in me. I said, not today, I don't. And I said, you know what the weather forecast is? And he looked at me and said, what are you talking about? I said, you know what the weather forecast today is? And he goes, it's kind of, I said, showers. How about getting one?
I'll tell you when I heard that. And you know what? That brought up a story with Dallas Green. You know Dallas, how he was. We're playing in 80, and it's hot and humid, and we're getting killed. We're losing 12-1. But from the first inning on, I could hear Dallas screaming at Eric Gregg. I mean, where is that ball? You know, with Dallas's voice. And I'm playing short, and I can hear this. So about the 6th inning, he comes out, and Eric's sweating, and we're out of the game. I hate to say it, but we're out of the game. So I go to the mound. I wanted to hear this. So Dallas has a righty and a lefty warming up down there, and Eric comes out, and he goes, hey, D, who you bringing in? And Eric's sweating, and Dallas looks at him. He says, D, come on, man, we got to get out of here. You guys are getting killed. He says, who are you bringing in, the lefty or righty? And Dallas goes, guess, just like you've been doing the balls and strikes all day long. I mean, you talk about somebody that kept his personality going, but he wanted to get his point across. Of course, Eric says, get out of here, you're out of here.
You know, when you're talking about Bo getting thrown out of the games, you know, like I remember one year, I don't know if I was managing or the hitting coach or what, but Bo was managing the Phillies, and we were playing them in spring training. And I'm sitting there on a bench, and somebody told me, says, Bo is going to get thrown out of the game today. Watch, he gets thrown out all these spring training games. I said, ain't no way he's going to. Long about the 2nd or 3rd inning, here he comes. He come running out the dugout wheels before he could get home plate. The guy already had his screaming at his hand.
He would get thrown out. You want to give you a good Eric Gregg story? Eric
Yeah,
Gregg?
but you know what? We're going to go away, and we're going to come back. You got to tell that Eric Gregg story. Hi, I'm here with Rachel Riley, and she works with the Valley Forge Tourism, and they partner with us for our show. So first of all, I'd like to welcome you here today. And you know what? I've been a resident of Montgomery County for a long time. I love it here. People raise their families here, and it's great to see small businesses take over here in Conshohocken.
No, thank you so much, Larry. We're so happy to partner with Down the Line because we love baseball, and of course we love the Phils, but we also love Montgomery County, especially small spots like Pretty Tasty Cupcakes here in Conshohocken. We have so many great small-owned businesses all throughout the county, and that's why for the last year we've been pushing our Make It Main Street campaign. It's really fun because it started out as how businesses were impacted by the pandemic, and we really wanted people to shop local to support them so they didn't have to close. But it's kind of evolved over the last year to talk about what it means to be a small business owner in the community, especially Montgomery County. And now we're really focused on how Monco is a Main Street destination. You can come here, explore different family-owned restaurants, retail shops, boutiques, all sorts of things, and you can stay overnight because we've got 80 hotels. So it's really a great way to showcase the variety of things to see and do here in Montgomery County.
Well, it's great that the economy is coming back, but how about for our viewers out there? Is there any way they can get information of the upcoming events that are coming up?
Absolutely. From Ambler to Pottstown, you can check out all of our main streets at makeitmainstreet.com.
Hey Rachel, you know what? I'm getting ready to eat one of these nice cupcakes with the Philly logo on it. So let's go Phillies, and I'm going to get a little heavy here eating this, but it looks great.
I think it's worth it. Definitely going to be worth it.
Okay.
My name is Kenny Thomas, and I'm the chief artist at Shibe Sports. I'm a big Philadelphia sports fan, a 4-for-4 guy.
I learned how to screen print in high school. Started making my own t-shirts at home, slowly grew and grew until I needed to get a studio. My name's Alex, and I print t-shirts for Shibe Sports.
To actually be able to impact a culture with the things you make is one of the most important things an artist can ever do.
Hey, Wills, before we went away here, we had some Eric Gregg stories. I know you got a couple right there because you've watched as many games as both of us, so maybe you want to share it with people.
And we're all great friends because
Right.
Eric was from Philadelphia, and we all got used to do games at the complex. So one night, back in the old days, we had cable TV in town called Prism.
Right.
So Andy Musser and I did those games. Well, one of the things was I would go down about the 8th inning and get in the camera well down there to do a post-game show. So I'm down there in the camera well about the 8th inning, and I see, he was calling me, behind home plate. And I go, hey, Eric, how you doing? He goes, and he's looking real, and he goes, what the hell's wrong with him? So he comes walking over to me and he says, I said, hey, what's the problem? He says, listen, man. He said, I just split my pants all the way up. He said, and the league is all over me right now about my weight. Don't say anything about my pants. And when he walked away, he had a big, he had a big split in his pants.
You know, there was another Eric Gregg story that you're going to like this one. We had a ball girl named Mary Sue Stiles. We were playing the Pittsburgh Pirates. It was one of those games, it was dusk, and we had a couple men on. We hit a ball that went from the dugout. I mean, we could see it was foul. But this ball, and we looked down and Eric goes, home run. And we're all saying, yeah, Eric missed that. Because there was no replay then.
Right.
So, of course, Pittsburgh, there's no way, that's the ball's foul, that ball's foul. And so Eric goes, no, I saw the whole play. So the umpires all get together and everything. And eventually, the umpires helped him out and they said, Eric, that ball's foul. So the story goes on, they called it foul, and everyone said, you know, it was a foul ball. And they asked Eric, they said, hey, Eric, let me ask you a question. How did you make that call? Because he said, I really didn't see it. If you didn't see that ball, how could you make that call? He says, well, I'm going to tell you the honest to God truth. He says, I saw Mary Sue Stiles, who was a ball girl down the left field line. She's jumping up and down like we hit a home run, and he goes, if Mary Sue Stiles thinks it's a home run, he goes, home run. And that's how they put that. And the other umpires had to overturn that. But that's a classic Eric Gregg story right there.
Frank Pulley's the second base umpire, you know, was another great guy. And he sees it. Because as you said, it was dusk. And Eric said he turned around, and when he turned around, all he saw were the lights. Had no idea where the ball was.
He had no
all of a
idea
sudden he
where it
knows
was.
it's gone.
You know, when you were with the Phillies, when you managed the World Series team, was there a rivalry with any team that stood out? Like I know you didn't like the other teams, but is there one team that really stood out that when you guys played them, there was going to be something going on?
I think after about a year or two that I was managing, I think, I'll say after the first year probably, the Mets and us. We definitely, you know, like they used to hit Utley a lot,
right?
And Howard, you know, like and the Mets had a heck of a team. I think.
Yeah,
I mean, they had a real good ball club, right. and yeah, but also too, they were our rivalry without a doubt. I mean, and we loved to play them all too.
And then we had one when you were watching us play. It was with Pittsburgh.
Oh, bad.
I mean,
bad ones.
Every time Pittsburgh came in, there was a bench clearing brawl.
Nasty.
And that was when both teams were really, really good. But that had to be fun to announce when we played the Pirates. I'm serious.
Well, you could see it coming a lot of times. And, you know, they had a guy that none of us liked when he pitched and then loved him afterwards was Bruce Keeson.
Oh, yeah.
And he, unfortunately, we just lost him, passed away recently. We used to talk about that.
Right.
He would hit our guys all the time. All
All
the
the
right-handed. He would hit Schmidt, he'd hit Dave Cash, and they would start brawls. They would start fights all the time. Hey, I was thinking of you the other night. You should tell that story about J.R. Richard.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, J.R. Richard, and you've seen him pitch, Charlie, and we both agree, if he didn't have the stroke and got caught up with the drugs, he might have been the greatest pitcher ever for a right-handed pitcher. I mean, this guy had everything. But we were playing a Monday night game, and our pitcher hit Metzger, the shortstop. And it wasn't on purpose. He happened to hit him. And I'll never forget this because it was a Monday night, and I'm hitting left-handed, Charlie. You know when a right-hander throws a ball? This ball came right at my head, and I don't know how I got out of the way of it. And I jumped up, and I went to JR, because he's 6'6", and there's no way I'm going out there. He goes, hey, you hit our shortstop, and I'm throwing at you. And I went, okay. And I went, but that was that was the closest I ever come to getting hit in the head from a right-handed
I'll never
pitcher.
forget that, how you kind of did like a George Brett flip in the World Series to get out of the way of it.
It was unbelievable.
I wonder how your heart rate didn't come down, for 2-3 innings probably.
I faced J.R. Richards when he was in A-ball and AA, and he was I made my last at bat of my career. I popped a 3-1 fastball up late to third baseman in Houston.
You're never late on 3-1.
He was the most.
I remember it just like it's yesterday. That was my last at bat in the big leagues.
There were a lot of right-handed hitters did not. They wanted a night off.
I'm telling you, the people that never got a chance to see him, you missed something.
Big. He leveraged the ball good.
Good
He had
slider
some,
too.
Oh, he was nasty.
Yeah, he didn't need a radar gun.
No. We knew. If you had that radar gun now, it'd be close to 100.
And you think about it, this happened in 1980.
Right.
We didn't have to face him in the playoffs.
I mean, God,
you think about
God
that.
loved the guy, but that helped us win
Absolutely.
the World Series.
What their
You know
rotation
what?
had been.
We could have a whole nother show with you, Wheels, but time's at the end here, and I want to thank you, and I know Charlie to share their stories with us. We had a good time today.
It's always good seeing you, man. Always good talking to you.
You two guys are two of the best friends I ever made in the game. So
All right, buddy.
It's been fun
Thank
being
you.
here. Thanks a lot. Enjoyed it.
That's all for this week's episode as we wrap things up from the Gatehouse at the Navy Yard. It was great to hear stories from Wheels. For Charlie and Larry, I'm Sam Wilson, and we'll catch you down the line. Down the Line is brought to you in part by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Visit Montgomery County's main streets. Find out more at makeitmainstreets.com. By Shibe Vintage Sports, where there's a story in every stitch. Check out their throwback sports gear at their Center City location or at shibesports.com. And by Phillies Nation, where informed fans go for news, rumors, events, and other fun stuff.